Before we begin this podcast, I just want to let you guys know that we are running a hashtag contest via the app Cymbal, which if you don't already know is a fantastic social media app where you can post songs, and it kind of operates almost like the Instagram music. Of course, you can post songs from Spotify and SoundCloud. Anyways, in this contest, you have the chance to win some prizes, including some Cymbal merch, a CD copy of Angel Olsen's My Woman, and various download codes of your choosing. Of course, we're going to be separating the winners of this contest into first, second, and third place. The prizes for those being, in first place, you'll win a Cymbal shirt or sweatshirt and a CD copy of My Woman. Of course, in second place, you'll win a download code for My Woman and another album of your choosing, including Interpol, Turn on the Bright Lights, St. Vincent, Actor, Big Black, Songs About Fucking, Animal Collective, Sung Tongs, Empress of Me, and Julia Holter, Loud City Song. And in third place, you'll get two download codes of the two of the previous albums that I just mentioned. Of course, if you want to be entered into the contest, all you have to do is put the hashtag Indieheads podcast into your Cymbal post and post it on either Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Of course, with that hashtag. So, best of luck to everyone and get to posting. Now let's get back to the podcast. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Indieheads podcast. I'm your host, Matty, aka Monrovian Prince on Twitter. On this week's podcast, we have
AJ at and Moser on Twitter. Follow me if you like Star Wars and bad opinions about video games.
Zach at Waffle113 on Twitter. Follow me or don't, doesn't really matter to me, honestly.
Stefan at Stefan Mikowski on Twitter. I'm not going to spell it. It's in the episode description. My fucking name. Oh boy. I really wish I would have intended on like using Twitter for content and shit when I made it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have chosen like my name. Because now I have people who I respect following me on there.
You know you can change your @, right?
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
This changes everything.
Dude,
Yeah.
when I initially made my Twitter, it was like something 69, and it's not anymore. It's not my brand.
And you
I'm
changed
not at all
it?
surprised.
I did change it.
Mine was like my gamer tag from like 2010. It was like X Elite X Recon, but like Recon spelled like R3C0N.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, God.
Obviously,
See, I always wondered that. Where does Recon come from? Like that
Halo, baby.
Actually, no, AJ, not Halo. From Battlefield, actually. Bad Company 2, baby.
Dirty boy.
So yeah, that's where it came from. Was I think I became a fan of Battlefield through like the Bad Company 2 beta, and then I was like, Recon, that sounds like really good. I'll stick with that. Even though I don't play sniper characters anymore in Battlefield because I fucking suck at sniping.
And now we know you were 14 when you made your Reddit account.
Exactly. Wait, actually, was I? Hold up. I was 14 because I made my account in like 2010. Okay.
Damn, I haven't been 14 in like 7 years.
Anyways, welcome back to the podcast. I keep saying, like, oh, we need to get, we're going to try to keep it to a weekly schedule, and then that doesn't fucking happen because scheduling this podcast has become a fucking nightmare in the past few months because no one can get it together, including myself. So I'm not going to guarantee or promise a weekly schedule. If you're lucky, you'll get a bi-weekly schedule, hopefully, but we actually might.
And you'll like it.
But hopefully, once school gets into session, hopefully we can actually find a bit more consistent day to do the podcast.
See, that's what I said last year. I was like, oh, school started, now I can do the podcast regularly. And then the exact fucking opposite happened, so...
So, yeah, hopefully, I only go to school like 4 days a week, so Fridays through Sundays I'm pretty much good for podcasting. So hopefully we can try to figure out something then. And, yeah... Anyways, let's get into the news. We missed out on a lot of stuff in the time we were gone.
David Bowie died.
Yep, we're reminded once again he's dead.
Hey, Frank Ocean have an album coming out. Is that going to happen?
We already did the episode on that.
Didn't we do the discussion? Yeah.
That was our last episode. Was on Blonde.
Man, that joke did not fucking land. I am so sorry.
And you're the so-called comedian of the podcast.
Yeah, you're a comedian, I thought.
I never said I was a good one. I just said I was trying. Listen, my Twitter picture is me doing stand-up. That means I'm an official comedian now. That's all you need to do.
For like a year now, we've been begging you, like, dude, when are you going to show us some of your stand-up? You're like, nah, I'm not good enough yet. I don't want to film it just yet. And it's like...
It's true. I tried to film it once, and it didn't go well.
I mean,
that was like one of my better sets.
I'm like the king of like ironic Twitter memes of the podcast group, okay? If there's anyone you need to show your stand-up to, it's me, okay? or you can show Ethan because he's been trying to get, or Jeremiah, because Jeremiah's actually like, he doesn't really talk about stuff going on in his life, but like he's mentioned he's in like an improv troupe, which that's pretty interesting. He's probably great in it. I love Jeremiah so much. I love him.
Sweet boy.
Sweet boy. Oh yeah, shit. I just remembered. I was going to talk about this a bit later on, but we'll just talk about it now since it's come up to mind. Possibly, Dat Boy AJ and myself will be in Detroit together, seeing James motherfucking Blake, and I think Vince Staples too, because I think he's opening for him on that date, and also Moses Sumney.
Yeah, it's Moses Sumney. I don't know if Vince Staples is going to be there.
So yeah, I'll have to check, but yeah, Dat Boy AJ and I might be going down to Detroit, down to the Dirty D.
It's like over. It's up and over, really.
Yeah, it's pretty north.
to go see the boy JB,
the sweet legendary son.
But incredibly sad and makes me really depressed. JB. Anyways,
it's gonna be fun.
Nice. Anyways, let's get to the news because we've been delaying it long enough. First up, Tom York has said that he is getting too old for those crazy album releases, and he's also gonna be doing some tour dates in 2017 with Radiohead, and then mentioned Atoms for Peace reunion. I didn't write this one down. I think that was Zach. Did you write this down? So that boy Tom York, he's done doing the crazy album releases, despite the fact that he literally did one this fucking year.
Moonshaped Pool was like pretty tame compared to some of the other shit we've had this year, though. Honestly,
that's true.
Wait, we had a date. We had the date. We knew it in advance. It was like, and there it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did I know In Rainbows had the Pay What You Want release, but like, what was the crazy release behind King of Limbs?
King of Limbs had the least crazy release. It was literally just like the week before they were like, "Yeah, we got an album."
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like the Lotus Flower video went up.
See, then I don't get, like, he's only done like 2 crazy album releases then. So
I feel like this is just like Tom York's thing that he does after every Radiohead album to just like neg the other members of the band. Like literally every time he's just like, I'm kind of sick of Radiohead. I don't want to do it anymore. And the rest are like, Tom, please, we don't have jobs except for Johnny. And that's just the weird, like, abusive cycle of Radiohead's weird fucking dynamic. Tom York having his little temper tantrums.
I mean, but you gotta love Tom York. He's fantastic. And also, we didn't mention this. They put up a live video, or like a kind of from the basement style video, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson of Johnny and Tom playing present tense with 2 guitars and a drum machine, and it was fantastic. And present tense is actually my favorite song of A Moon-Shaped Pool, so I was really excited to see that they did the little video for it.
I think the news here is really that Radiohead's touring again. That's what excites me the most, because I missed them out on the last one.
See,
the last one was barely a tour. It was like 10 shows.
No, I mean like the King of Limbs tour.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Tom York, Radiohead, exciting news. A Moon-Shaped Pool, can we talk about A Moon-Shaped Pool? Like, what do you guys think about it
really
like a few months later?
Oh, it's fucking great.
Like, for me, it's definitely grown on me since then. Like, with more listens, I kind of go back to it. But I was talking about this in the chat yesterday, how like some people are still listening to A Moon-Shaped Pool. Like, it's got good replay value, but it doesn't quite have the replay value for me as like the niche that A Moon-Shaped Pool fills for like some people. Like other albums kind of fill for me, you know. I won't mention what the album is because I know AJ's gonna get mad at me.
I don't.
You do. It's The Redeemer.
That's not even relevant. That came out years ago.
I know, but that album fills the niche for me that like A Moon-Shaped Pool kind of fills for other people, and that's why.
So you're just saying the niche of being an album people like a lot.
Yeah, being a good album.
No, of being okay. God, okay. Both okay. They're both kind of like more like low key, kind of dreary, kind of depressed, but like kind of emotionally kind of like empty feeling albums, and they both kind of fill. And one of those fills that niche. Okay, fuck it. Let's move on to the next news. We forgot to. So the Indieheads podcast, if you guys don't know, we're famous now.
That's us.
We're famous.
We
you don't
made
know
it.
How we're famous? So I went to a Seat Headrest show about 2 weeks ago, and at that show, I filmed a video. During the encore, Will Toledo, he did a cover / rework remix of Frank Ocean's Ivy, and I put that on the podcast channel because I'm like, okay, I can put this on my own personal channel, all right, but who's that going to help? It's just going to kind of help me, and not even help me that much. So, me being the smart businessman that I am, and the host, and the CEO, and the power leader of this podcast, I was like, wait a second. I'm going to post this video on the podcast channel because I know for sure blogs are going to be all over this video, and we're going to get some publicity out of this. And so we got featured, well, our video got featured in Stereo Gum, it got featured in Spin, it got featured in some other magazine I can't think of, it got mentioned in Pitchfork. But Pitchfork, those pieces of shit, Bitchfork here, would not mention us by name in the article. Spin did it. Stereo Gum did it after we, emailed them and saying, like, hey, can you guys, credit us in the article? And they're like, oh, sure. Stereo Gum, shouts out Stereo Gum. You guys are fantastic. Pitchfork, y'all are some bitches, because we emailed y'all, like, right after the article went up, and we're like, hey, just can you mention us by name in the article? Don't do that via Spin shit, because here's what they did. They're like, oh, this is via Spin. Like, no, bitch, it's via us. Spin mentioned us in their article. They were the first ones to put up the article, and they mentioned us by name. When they even asked them, they just did it because Spin is, like, a nice publication, and they're very cool. And they gave Death Grips the Artist of the Year in, like, 2012, which they deserved. So shouts out Spin. But, yeah.
I'm going to see that boy on Wednesday, and I'll keep my eyes out for any kooky covers. And just for Pitchfork, we're coming with the dicks out.
Yep, dicks out.
See, this is just their MO. Like, this is what they're going to do. In 5 years, they're going to post that video again and give us Best New Podcast and be like, yeah, we were on board from the start.
Yeah. So shouts out Stereo Gum, shouts out Seat Headrest. I really want to see him live again. Like, that's just, like, I just want to see him live because I felt really good at that concert, dancing around and just being like, yes, this is what I need. I need this in my life. So hopefully he'll come around to St. Louis next year, because I imagine they're going to be touring like crazy in, like, the next few years. Like, they gotta be.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Shouts out. Anyways.
Also, shouts out any new sponsors who might be listening. We're only a few subscribers away from getting in bed with Stamps.com. So, if you could just give us that boost, it'd be prime.
Which, yeah, shouts. So, yeah, definitely looking at sponsoring us. We'll give you that good money coming your way. Anyways, AJ, I'm going to let you take this one because I put this news article in here just for you. So, AJ, take it away.
There's a band called The Killers, and they're in the studio making another album due out next year, and it's going to be better than fucking Battleborn, because nothing named Battleborn has ever been good in the history of time. And I'm really excited for the new Killers album because I got back into them this year thanks to young boy Jeremiah. We got drunk and jammed out to him at Pitchfork, and fuck yeah, Brandon Flowers is a genius, and this album's going to be good, hopefully, probably, maybe.
Nice. Remember when Alex didn't know the Killers weren't British?
That was great.
Wait, are the Killers British?
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Oh yeah, I see. With Killers now, I have to remember that you guys literally just talked about them all the fucking time in Chicago, and like
sang them.
And that Jeremiah rant, like, of course they're like something
pop post punk,
of course,
or proto punk. Of course they're proto punk.
No, it wasn't.
Are you kidding me?
It's like I think it was of course they're new wave or something like that. It was something along the lines
something
of that.
Fucking like that. It's a classic Jeremiah rant.
Mm-hmm. I love him so much. Anyways, but yeah, Killers. I see. Despite you guys is like it's like Bruce and the Killers. Like I still haven't like properly gotten into like either of them, and I'm not really sure.
We're doing a. I don't want to release our MO here, but we're going to give away we're gonna do a classic cast one of these days for Born to Run.
See, because we planned that. I'm just again, it's on y'all because I won't be there because I don't have anything to say. It's like
it's gonna happen.
Hopefully, just one of y'all gotta get a fucking recorder. All right, it can't just be me.
Speaking of Bruce Springsteen, I just watered Spruce Springsteen a little bit. That's my new desk plant.
Oh my god. Jesus
He's a
Christ.
Japanese money tree. He's gonna bring me blessings and prosperity.
Shouts out. All right, so next news item. This one is not really indie related, but I guess it's indie related enough. That Skepta, he won the Mercury Prize for Konnichiwa. He beat out Radiohead. He beat out David Bowie. He beat out. Hold on a second. I'm gonna look up who else he beat out because I know he beat out Radiohead. And I know he beat out.
I was just looking at the Pitchfork article. He beat out the 1975 Savages, Anoni, I think some others.
I mean, yeah. See. Here's the thing. Now everyone's getting mad, like, oh, how would he beat David Bowie and Radiohead? You know, both these albums, like David Bowie, like literally, it's his last fucking album. It's about his fucking death. Like it's literally a concept album about him dying. And Radiohead, it's about like Tom York dealing with his divorce. how did those win over? But the thing is, the most important, the biggest snub of the Mercury Prize is how did 1975 not win? How do they not win? They deserve that award way more than Skepta. Grime, Schmime. 1975 the most important thing to be happening to music right now. They're causing a revolution in the alternative music scene.
Oh wait, I just realized you're being ironic. Shut the fuck up.
I zoned out for a little bit and I was like, holy shit, Matty likes the 1975?
Oh god.
Hey, it's Ian Cohen, everyone.
I don't
Ian Cohen, everybody.
Actually, no, I don't really have an opinion of them. I've heard some stuff of them and I actually dig it. But here's the thing. That's coming in as like someone who really likes pop music and really kind of despises modern alternative, and how they're like at least different enough to be like, okay, they're actually like interesting compared to like other modern alt acts that like I hear on my radio station all the time. So yeah, so Skepta won. I maybe, let's see, Zach, did you listen to Konnichiwa?
No, I didn't.
Stefan or AJ, I think you guys...
I never got around to it.
So Konnichiwa. See, Grime, I actually do. I've never been a big fan of Grime. It's just something that like it doesn't appeal to me. However, I did actually really dig Konnichiwa, as I think the album really did win. I think more just it was more of a culturally important. Like, okay, this is right now representing like UK music the best. Like, this is the guy who's kind of connecting the underground kind of scene of grime and then sort of mainstream hip hop. Having all these big names co-sign Skepta, and having Pharrell on his album, and of course the Drake co-sign. That's a very important co-sign. Let's be real, folks, because I probably would not even listen to Skepta if it wasn't for Drake. So, but yeah, Konnichiwa is actually, it's one of my favorite hip hop albums of the year. Although, of course,
oh, can we talk about how I just remember something funny? Didn't Dram dethrone Drake from the Billboard? And then I think that's funny because like Drake basically ripped off that one Dram song.
He did. Yeah, I think Broccoli beat out One Dance for like the top rap song in the country right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Broccoli actually. I would really love if Broccoli got in the top 5 of Billboard. Like, that'd be really awesome because I love that song. It's fantastic. And like I should hate Lil Yachty. Like, I really should hate Lil Yachty. Like, if
no, you shouldn't. Lil Yachty's good.
No, well, like every fiber of my being, like not every fiber, but like knowing what I like and what I dislike about hip hop, I should not like Lil Yachty, but yet I still really love him to death, and I think he's fantastic. But I don't know. I can't figure out exactly why, but I'm not really gonna try to find the answers. But yeah, shouts out Skepta for winning the Mercury Prize. Hopefully a better album wins next year.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing about like how these award shows operate is they never like give it to the objectively best album. Like, there's usually kind of a narrative tied into it. Like last year in Canada, Buffy St. Marie won the Polaris, and like by no means was that even like a good Buffy St. Marie album. Like, it just happened to be one, and the fact that like, I don't know, they had a lot of narrative shit tying into, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was going on, and like, it just, they definitely gave it to Konnichiwa to the fact that like it was probably very pertinent to what's going on in the UK culturally.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not going to complain. I think that it deserves it. So hey,
could I mention something Mercury Prize related real quick?
Ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Michael C. Hall absolutely killed it in his performance. Like, he did Lazarus, he knocked it out of the park.
But I need to watch.
Yeah, he actually did really good.
So. Hey, shouts out Michael C. Hall, Dexter.
Hey, your show sucked, but...
Okay, anyways, let's get into what we've been listening to this week. So I've been listening to a couple of albums. I'm going to start off with Jeff Rosenstock, We Cool. So, for those who might know me in the canon of this podcast, I have been a consistent hater of pop punk and emo. I have said that I'm not really a fan of either genre. That I just cannot get into it. However... I think that's starting to break down a little bit. Emo, I'm not quite there yet with emo. All right, I still hate most of the emo revival. However, pop punk,
bad boy,
it's broken me a little bit. So because I like that Modern Baseball album, I thought that was a really good album. And
that was an emo album.
No, I think Modern Baseball they mixed emo and pop punk, so it's kind of like it's more in between than like the Hotelier, for example. But anyways, I mean,
just like the vocal performance in Modern Baseball is like it's one of the most like emo you can get at the moment.
But the instrumentation is very pop punk, I would say.
Yeah.
So
people like and dislike the genre for like different reasons. Like, some people are turned off. They're like, oh, if the vocalist is whiny at all, like I will not listen to it. And some people are like, if the instrumentation is too loud, like not gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So you'll get there. Don't worry. You'll have good taste someday.
Yep. So yeah, but Jeff Rosenstock, he has a new album coming out called Worry on October 14th, I believe. And the singles for it are actually really good, and I actually really dig this album as it kind of combines a lot of different it's not just a pop punk album, and it has little elements of emo. It has really like Weezer-esque power pop, and really just like a fantastic like collection of like really varied songs. And I think my favorite on the album that I've come across was the second track on the album, which is You in Weird Cities. That really like right away just starting off like. It fills up at Chicago. It's like it has a lot of different. I think it has like a really like nice like Weezer-esque like bridge like Pinkerton style, and the song is also just really kind of like heartwarming. It's because it's basically just like, man, I really miss my bandmates and like I just want to hang out with them. But hey, if I listen to their records, it's kind of like hanging out with them. So it's like it's all warm and fuzzy, and it's really cool. So yeah, Jeff Rosenstock, shouts out. Hopefully his album's good as let's see, Say Goodnight to Me. Have you listened to Rosenstock, AJ?
Oh yeah, I love him. I saw him last year.
So,
Nice.
so I guess you like the new singles too?
Yeah, they're cool. They're good. I'm excited for the album. I like We Cool. Like, I just kind of saw him on a whim, actually. Like, I'm not crazy about him, so I hope this new record like really pushes him over the edge for me. But I'm excited.
We Cool is like, I thought it was a decent album, but the last Bomb the Music Industry album, Vacation, holy shit, like that is, I would say, one of my favorite, like, just straight up rock albums of the decade. And like all the things you describe yourself loving about We Cool, Matty, like, are just amplified times 10 on that album. It's so stellar.
So I'll have to check it out. Because I actually read, like, AV Club did, like, a little piece on Rosenstock and how he was kind of, like, an innovator in, like, using the internet to promote his albums, and how he's like the internet to kind of just make music in general, like using like free trials of like music programs. You could hear like little specks of like, oh, it's very obvious he's using a free trial, but
yeah, it's very DIY but very ambitious.
DIY, baby.
DIY. So yeah, We Cool. It's pretty cool. Next album I want to talk about is one that seems to be kind of weirdly divisive, but I kind of expected it to be divisive, kind of just based on like the context leading up to the album. Preoccupations. So of course, if you guys do not know, Preoccupations used to be known as Viet Cong. Then of course there is some controversy behind the name. They eventually changed it, as they're like, hey, we have no real political motives behind the name, so we're just going to change it. And they changed it, and everyone's like kind of underwhelmed. And personally, I didn't think the name change was necessary. I obviously, like, I know white people will be offended by the Viet Cong name, and I think it's a cool name. But if they had no real like political, like, like there was no deeper meaning behind that name, just other than, oh, it sounds badass, then yeah, I see why they drop it. But of course, the name change really is only like it's not even a part of the album. As like reading some of the context, it's like really an album that's kind of come from like kind of like a deep pain, I guess, because I believe the lead singer, Matt Flegel, he had just ended like a long-term relationship. The drummer, there's this really crazy article that like Consequence of Sound came out with of like 5 times like Michael Wallace like almost died, and like there's a bunch of like really crazy stories. Like there's one story about like how he got bit by like a spider or something, and like his leg was all fucked up. There's a story where he got somehow into like Thai like kickboxing, and he became like he was a Thai like kickboxer for a little bit. And then there was one where he got drugged by like two I don't want to say that word because it's offensive, by two, I guess, lady boys in Thailand, and possibly got raped or something that he's not entirely sure, and almost died because of like how much antibiotics he had to be on just in case he got HIV or AIDS. Just like absolutely insane. But anyways, the album is actually very good. I think it's a good follow-up to Viet Cong, as it really kind of maybe not, it's definitely not as punchier or like as in your face and direct as Viet Cong, but I don't know if I wanted it to be. I think it's good that they're trying out new things within the post-punk genre, or at least for themselves, where it's much more dronier and it's a bit more ambient than before. It's definitely like it's not as direct. It definitely takes a little bit of time to kind of get into it. But I'm gonna shut up. I think, Stefan, you were talking in the chat that like you think Viet Cong, like the album was like insanely overrated or something like that, right?
Yeah, I come from a very specific like relationship to that band, that album, though, because like my city, I live 3 hours north of where they're from, Calgary. which is like the other major city in the province. And so when they first like kind of came out, a lot of their hype around here was just kind of based off the fact that, like, hey, it's a band like from here, like up into that city. They're from here. They're like us. Like, it was a lot of just people were just excited that, you know, a band in the area was getting exposure. And I don't think they really like cared for the musical content beyond that. It was kind of just like whatever that band was going to sound like. It was just like their position in the province was going to like get them crazy amounts of hype no matter what. And so like that record was fucking everywhere when it came out around here. And like you could not go a day without like seeing a think piece or a review of that record like getting shared on Facebook. And I was, yeah, just having the opinion at the time of like, it's okay. Like they're standard, like they're an all right band. It's cool that they're on Jaguar, but like, like that was kind of a very divisive take at the time. And then of course they got even more divisive with the name change thing, which like was a huge fucking stink up here. Like such an enormous, giant, controversial stink. And I'm glad they finally changed it. But yeah, just at a certain point, I just got so drained on like having to talk about and think about that band that like, I'm sure this album's decent. The last album was also decent, but that's kind of like what they amount to me is just like a pretty decent band. They have some cool things. They have some lame things. That's about it.
See, yeah, definitely like, I think it's like going in the album, I wasn't really that hyped at all just because of the name change and all this stuff was like, man, I don't know if I care enough, but you know, I got an early copy from my college station. I've been listening to my car the past few days. It's very solid. I definitely need to give it a bit more listens. It's definitely not as it's not as direct as the first album. It definitely takes a bit more to kind of like figure out what's happening because of the more droney aspects of the record. But yeah, they're definitely not the you know the post-punk band right now that I'm the most hyped about. Like I think like I was talking about this in the chat the other day, that I do think Ott's next album will be like seriously great as like the first two albums.
Yeah, I like Ott.
Really good.
Like Ott and Viet Cong are kind of like comparison or like companions in my mind. Sort of, I associate them together a lot, but I'm definitely Team Ott over Team Preoccupations now, I guess. But I will listen to this record.
Yeah, I'll listen to it too. I never cared for Ott much before Sun Coming Down, and then that album grew on me a lot. But it's definitely, I think, kind of appropriate to lump them together because they're kind of like,
they're both Canadian.
In Canada, Ott is like Montreal's big hyped post-punk band, and like over here, you know, Preoccupations is Calgary's big hyped post-punk band. So there's almost kind of an East versus West thing going on there.
Mm-hmm. And I think I think their biggest issue like going into stuff was that their albums are all really good. Like they're both really good, but they're so close to great because they both have like great, fantastic songs. Like, you know, More Than Any Other Day has, you know, the self-titled track and like Habit, both like absolutely like fantastic killer songs. And you know, Sun Coming Down of course has, you know, Men for Miles, the self-titled track, and then of course fucking Beautiful Blue Sky, like holy fucking shit, like the album centerpiece and like one of the best like tracks of 2015. But the rest of the album doesn't kind of fails in comparison, but it's still a good album. So I do think if like they really do kind of maybe just like, I think the biggest issue Odd has had for a lot of people, but maybe not me, was that a lot of people say, oh, they drown their influences, like, oh, it's so obvious they're, you know, influenced by like Talking Heads and, you know, Joy Division and whatnot. And that's obviously like, here's the thing, I don't think it's as bad. Like I think they channel their influences well, but maybe could be doing it like, I don't know. I just think Odd that they can make like really great songs. They just need to have an entire album of great songs and not just like, here's like 3 or 4 great tracks and then like a couple of good ones. You know, it's like I need the full thing. Like I need the full like great, because I know you guys have the potential to make like really great, fantastic songs. Just like take your time and really focus in on making just all great songs.
I think they'll get there. Like if you look at how much they've improved like over the course of their discography, I think if not like the next album, then the one after, they're like very close to having that truly great album.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the issue that like kind of going slightly off topic that we've had discussions about before with like Arca, where, you know, One Tricks Point Never obviously has had like, for a lot of people, has had his like truly great albums, while Arca of course is like a very like acclaimed producer, but he hasn't really had that great album yet that like really like proves himself as like a solo artist.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, you know, Arca with his new album this year, hopefully he kind of proves people wrong and has like that great album. But anyways, we need to get to the next. We're gone this way too fucking long. AJ, you're up to bat.
Okay, I'm talking about two hot brand new albums Actually, two of my favorites. Like, I'm not doing rankings anymore this year because it's too much for me. But like these are probably would be in my top 10 if I was going to. And the first one's the new Cymbals Eat Guitars record, which I've been listening to for a while because it leaked a while back, and I downloaded it because I love these guys and I wanted to listen to their music. But I will buy it and support them. Fret not. So yeah, Pretty Years. I had pretty high expectations for because I really liked Lose from 2014. It's got some really sick guitar work on it, and it's like the solid kind of glammy emo rock, just like everything I love, drenched in it. And like the first single, 4th of July, Philadelphia Sandy, is the most Bruce Springsteen named song probably of all time. It's got like three or four Bruce Springsteen stereotypes in the title alone, and I really love that song. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year. But the way this record came together is it's a lot like Goodness. I compare them a lot, and I will at the end of this segment reveal which I prefer. But it's just like a super positive, everything like happy, really like life affirming album compared to their last album, which was just like, oh, everyone I know is dying, everything is sad, everything is awful. Like there's songs on here that directly juxtapose like the Columbine shooting with like he talks about how like, oh, after the Columbine shooting, like I went to the mall and just bought a bunch of stupid shit to make myself feel better. It's got a lot of like funny but kind of like existentialist moments like that, and it's super Darkness on the Edge of Town, Born in the USA era Bruce Springsteen, where it's like these sarcastic lyrics and these slow droning things, and then just you get these huge loud in your face choruses, and just like I fucking love this album. Obviously it's definitely one of my favorites of the year, and I already tweeted it, I do prefer it to Goodness, which I did not see coming, and a quote unquote emo album this year being better than Goodness, but it would be this one.
I actually did listen to the sound last night because you and Will have been hyping it up, and I actually dug it. I posted a song today on my Cymbal because I've been playing some of the songs on my radio show because I'm like, okay, it fits with my show. I actually really dig it. I think the vocals take a little bit getting used to, as they are pretty like they're definitely not what you would think. I don't know. They're definitely kind of like a little.
Yeah, they kind of jar with the instrumentation a little bit. It's not like when the instrumentation kicks in, it's not what you would expect the vocals to sound like. They're too clean, but almost his performance is too kind of rough. I don't know, but it's a good sound. It's a unique sound. It sounds like it's consistent with their style too.
He sounds like a lot like the guy from Woo Life and La, that Ellery Roberts guy.
Yeah.
That was reminded me of. Actually. Which for me, like my thing with this album, I listened to it yesterday, and it's solid. But I like just whatever the way this band was sold to me, I thought it was going to be like this super aggro, like post-hardcore album. So to me coming to this, I was like, oh, this is kind of light.
It's the band name, right?
It really is.
Guitars, you're just like, oh, this is going to be noisy and like rough.
Which is what I was hoping for. And that doesn't mean the album's bad. It just means I have to adjust to it.
Yeah.
Like, give it some time. Because I didn't pick up on any, like, what you just said about the lyrics sounds really cool. And I did not pick up on any of that while I was listening to it. So I'll have to come back to it a bit.
Songs like Wish and Mall Walking really, like, exhibit, like, I think on Wish, the lead into the chorus is like, oh, the shit that we were promised maybe really does exist. And it's like, that's good. That's a good line right there. Instead of like, it subverts these. This is what I like the most about this current wave of emo we have going on, is it's like, you don't have to just be sad anymore. You can talk about how you're not sad anymore, and like that can also be emo. It's great. It's a great genre. It's budding. I love it so much. But speaking of being sad, let's talk about this Nick Cave album, guys.
Oh boy.
I didn't think it was going to be possible for there to be a more fuck me up core record than Black Star this year. But like this album is soul crushing in like every single sense. It's also like it's very good music, but it's just fucking dense and super emotionally charged and just like heavy. It's so fucking heavy. Like I can't like okay, I guess everyone probably knows the Nick Cave backstory at this point about how his son died last year, and the material on this album was all written and some of it was recorded, but he went back into the studio, kind of reworked it, rewrote it. There's like a movie about how all that happened, and then the outcome is just this like I don't really have words to describe it. It's this like slow, lurching, gloomy, dark, expressive, just like masterpiece of an album that will just rip your heart out and destroy you.
Yeah, it's like literally a funeral dirge is what the music sounds like. It sounds like dark and funereal and depressing and just, I don't know, just like sounds like the fucking river Styx.
I really only have like one qualm with the album, and I can't really hold it against it, but like sort of like how the Bowie album, and then to a lesser extent the latest Brian Eno album, that I really dig that one, and it deals with similar themes but in a really abstract kind of way. They both end on like these big kind of upbeat, louder, like faster songs, and I kind of wanted that on this album, and like the opening chords of Skeleton Tree, the closing track, really like hint that it's going to be that kind of song, but it just sort of, the only thing I don't like about this album is kind of how it ends. I think Distant Sky, the song that precedes it immediately, is like a much stronger track, and so like then there's just that one song left where I'm like you kind of like, obviously I understand what this album is about and what this album is doing. And then the last track, like there's a huge diversion right before the last track with Distant Sky, which has like these female choral vocals. And it's like, what is going on? This is incredible. And then you get to Skeleton Tree, the closer, and it's sort of back to the droning, dirging you were talking about. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't listened to this album, you need to like make time for it and make the headspace for it. But just like, this is powerful.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's been one of my most anticipated albums of the year, and I've only been able to, that's how hard it hit me. It is just devastating. And speaking from some authority as the Nick Cave expert, I think it's going to stand up there with Let Love In and The Boatman's Call when all said and done on Nick Cave's career. It's going to be up there with his classics. This is just a phenomenal, heart-wrenching record. I think it might be my favorite.
There's one thing to be like a really emotionally powerful record, but then to also couple that with just like really strong and really interesting songwriting techniques is what we have here. And it's like, it's literally another Black Star. And you know, that album is as rare in as itself as it was, but this one is just, I would say, like emotionally on par with that record.
Yeah, if not even more. This one kind of hit me harder. And going back to what you're saying, I feel like, I don't know, Skeleton Tree, the song, like, that's a very fuck me up song in a subtle kind of way. Like, it kind of just feels like this weird nonsense epilogue, but when you start to really think about it, like, that song has an interesting juxtaposition of like it closure, but also not. Like, there is no closure in the situation.
It's the sense that, yeah, like this will always, like, this feeling will never end. It's a real like, I mean, that's one way to end an album, but it's just like so much.
Yeah, it's just like it's continuity. It's like kind of a life goes on sort of thing, and getting back to some sense of normal after like his fucking heart has been ripped out on. Man, I Need You. That his vocal performance on that song.
Oh, like, I forgot.
I can barely even listen to it. Like, it really is like him. He's fucking crying in the studio singing this song.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to the point where this album almost feels like voyeuristic. It's like he shouldn't have put this out, and this should have just gone in his archive, but like he just felt compelled to be like, no, I need to let this process be like viewed publicly, and that's what the film is about too. I don't know. Oh man, it's rough, but it's so good.
And like, yeah, the last thing I want to say.
No, I haven't.
I haven't seen the film either. The last thing I wanted to say was that like the Sun Kill Moon song Exodus off of the Jason Sun Kill Moon album. Like, even if you don't listen to the album, if you have no interest in the album, that's fine. But you need to listen to Exodus because it's about like when Mark Kozlik found out about Nick Cave's son's death, and it like, I mean, it's a powerful song. I like heard it live performed for the first time, and it destroyed me.
Yeah, I listened to Skeleton Tree for the first time and then put on Exodus right after, and it was a bad idea. Like, I straight up cried. That was just the point where Skeleton Tree has you almost overwhelmed, like you're almost filled to the brim, being like, man, that was just barely not too much. And then listen to Exodus after, and it's like way too fucking much.
There's no release on it. It's literally just like
hold on, AJ, your mic's like, you can see I'm like a demon right now.
That's me.
Okay, I think you're good now.
Yeah, you're back. Holy shit.
Woo!
Yeah, Skeleton Tree. It'll fuck you up.
Yep.
It'll kill you.
Yep.
Okay, now you're back to sounding like really loud. Yeah. Go back to number 2, AJ, as we were talking about before we were recording. Hold on. All right, anyways, I guess See, I haven't checked out the album just yet, so I guess maybe you guys can kind of inform me. So I do know that the album was like almost everything was written like prior to his son's death. And so the
I think that's not
really...
quite true. I think some of the, like, he had started recording it before his son's death, and then, like, because you can see kind of there's a clear point. There was like, oh yeah, this would just fit on like any Nick Cave album, but then it starts to become like very directly about that at a certain point. So I think he had some demos and a rough sketch of the album, but like that process definitely informed the rest of it.
Okay, so I was gonna be like, okay, of course, obviously the recording was probably all done like, you know, like all the vocals and whatnot were probably done before or after his son's death. Which, hold on, did you guys talk about like how his son died, or was it just like?
It sort of goes without saying.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of knows at this point. It was pretty big news, and also like I saw like some Daily Mail articles. The British tabloids seemed very like invasive and shitty towards their family when all that stuff was going down. So it was very widely covered, I think.
Okay,
and that's why he made the movie. He wanted to explain the album without having to talk to the press.
Oh,
gotcha. So yeah, it's still on my list. I'll have to check it out. But you know, seeing like how emotionally, like, it's like, am I emotionally going to be ready for this album? Just because I keep hearing so many things. But yeah, Zach, well, let's get to you. What have you been listening to this week?
I've been waiting to talk about this one for ages. It's the new Maxwell album, Black Summer's Night, and well, a little background. Maxwell was one of those neo-soul guys like D'Angelo, Erykah Badu. He came up with those guys, and this is his first album in 7 years, and the album before that was his first in 8. And Frank Ocean fans think they have it bad. They've been waiting on Maxwell for ages. So, anyway, Black Summer's Night. It's one of my favorite albums of the year. It's in my top 5 right now. I don't really think there are any bad tracks. Below average ones? Maybe. Ones I don't care for? Sure. But bad? No. His voice still sounds amazing. And the album is really well arranged. And, geez, you think for one to talk about for so long and have more to say, but that's sort of it. It's just a really great album that I think flew under the radar. Stefan, I know you listened to it. What do you think?
Yeah, I listened to it, and I checked it out a little bit. It's kind of, like, funny that I agree with you that there's not much to say about it, but in the other way, like, I did not mind the album at all. Like, I really enjoyed it. I listened to it, you know, half a dozen times or whatever. But, like, at the end of the day, it was, to me, like, just a pretty pleasant, like, neo-soul album. Like, you know, it was fun at times. It had some good ballads on there. It was nice and rounded. His voice was great. There was nothing bad about it. It just, you know, it didn't really, like, click or have much an impact for me, which, like, for Zach, I understand, like, if you're a fan of this guy or if just this album aesthetically ticks all of your boxes, then it would be absolutely fantastic. But for me, it just didn't, you know, line up with my sensibility all that much, but definitely a very respectable record, I think.
Mm-hmm. And my second album, it's appropriate that we were talking about the Mercury Prize earlier because this album was also shortlisted, Love and Hate by Michael Kiwanuka. It was produced by resident Indieheads Punching Bag Danger Mouse. That's not a bad thing. I'll explain. I heard of Michael based off his song Always Waiting from his first album, Home Again. I thought, ooh, this is a really great song. I like it. And never really bothered to look further. So when I heard that he had a new album out this year, I thought, okay, that should be interesting, and then never bothered to listen to it. But then I was watching the Get Down, and one of the songs from his album was featured on it, and it sort of reminded me of his existence, so I listened to it last Friday, and I was pretty much blown away by how much I liked it. Danger Mouse's production is great. Michael turns in some great performances. The lyrics are on point. And the opening song is just spectacular. Like, Cold Little Heart is way up there in my Song of the Year rankings. It might wind up being my Song of the Year. And maybe he shows his influences a bit much. He's Otis Redding when he sings, Eddie Hazel of Funkadelic on his guitar playing. Maybe he wears them a bit too plainly, but who doesn't show their influences? What's great is that he's taken these influences and made them into something that isn't necessarily his own, but it's something enjoyable, and it's not blatantly copycatting other, like, soul icons. Really, really strong record. Don't sleep on it like I did.
Yeah, I actually did have this album. It was recommended to me by someone on a different forum. I think I checked out the first track, and I think I checked out like one of the bigger singles from the album, like something like I do remember like the song was like something no more, or something like that. Maybe you can fill in the blanks for me on that one. Let me think. Let's see, Michael. Yeah. Anyways, I think I brought in like because it's actually funny you mentioned Danger Mouse because like I think the song that I've heard, like it was very it was it was One More Night. Never mind. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, One More Night. It was very like kind of Black Keys-esque, and now that they mentioned that it was Danger Mouse producing, that makes a lot of sense, and that where I kind of got the Black Keys vibes from. So, but yeah, I'll definitely check out this album.
All right, cool. I'll do mine, I guess. So leading in so smoothly. I'm usually good at facilitating segues between the album discussions, but not that time. Holy shit. It was hard to pick things for this because this is like the quickest interval between me doing episodes. Usually I have a lot to talk about. But I was like, I barely listened to either of these, but fuck it. First on the docket is the new Serpentwithfeet EP Blisters, which is a collaboration by this guy Serpentwithfeet, Josiah Wise. I guess he's a singer from Maryland, and it's a collaboration with the Hacks and Cloak. Shouts out to the Hacks and Cloak. Excavation, great album. He worked on Volnicura. Just been doing a bunch of great shit over the years, and I was happy that he was working with this new guy. And okay, so the way I'm about to describe this album is in no way like if I tell you like this analogy, you are totally going to be disappointed by this EP, but it's still the only appropriate one. This kind of sounds like if Arca and Frank Ocean collaborated, which like it sounds like a fucking god tier recipe, and it is good. Obviously, like it's not those guys, but yeah, this is some good like weird alternative soul with like that kind of like real fucked up, eerie production, very strange linear song structures, and some really, man, just this guy just fucking belts all over this thing. His voice is really powerful, and he goes all out on these vocal performances, making for some like very dynamic, climactic, cinematic kind of soul tracks with this, I guess, very obtuse yet confessional vibe to them. If you look at the lyrics, they're very, very specific, but also very kind of, I guess, removed. This guy is a very like, you get the sense he has a very clear kind of internal mythology to the way he writes and the thing he refers to. Like there's this recurring theme on the EP of these four ethers, which was a concept I was not familiar with. So there's a lot of, I don't know if there's a strict narrative to the EP, but there's a lot of stuff like that going on. Some very interesting details in the lyrics. And also this thing is very gay. This is a very like aesthetically queer album, and it is.
That's one way to say it.
Yeah, it is one way. And it is the way I'm going to choose to say it. It very fits in line with that kind of like genderqueer aesthetic that, like I mentioned, you know, Arca, Elysia Crampton, Lodic, all those artists have been shooting for in recent years. This I definitely think is worthy of canonization along that kind of like movement. And it's cool to see. I highly recommend it, and I enjoyed it a lot. Second album I have only listened to once, I confess, the new Touché Amoré album, Stage 4, which is kind of like the opposite of Skeleton Tree in a sense, and that it's basically written from the opposite perspective. Like it's basically about the lead singer's mother died of cancer while he was on tour, and this album is just kind of all about that, the process of her like getting sick, her dying, him kind of recovering from it and moving on. And it, you know, Touché Amoré were known for their confessional lyrics before, and it very much continues in that style, although I will say in some cases, like, you know, the bluntness of these lyrics doesn't necessarily help them, especially when compared to something like Skeleton Tree, which managed to, like, you know, straddle those lines so well. There's some clunkers on here that kind of take away from it a little bit, but still, it's very much a very heartfelt, very ambitious, conceptually speaking, post-hardcore album, and like definitely pretty raw too in its own way. There are some like shocking moments on here. There's a song, 8 Seconds, which is about him basically talking about like when he found out his mother died, and like he was on stage at a music festival and like basically got off and got the call, and like that was it. And he's talking about how he had no closure from that. There's also at the early on in the record, there's a line where he says like, I still haven't brought up the courage to listen to the last voicemail she left me. And then at the very end of the album, like they play that voicemail, and it's like, whew, it's a very chilling, vulnerable moment. And yeah, there's some nice stuff on this. It was solid. It wasn't, it survived by. Very great album if you're looking to get into post-hardcore. That I thought was fantastic. Still in my top 10 for 2013. This initially, I don't think kind of rises to that standard, but it's still very respectable and also breaks the mold a little bit for what Touché Amoré do, especially the penultimate track, Skyscrapers. Like, you've been listening to 30 minutes of post-hardcore, and then out of nowhere, there's just like this really crazy, intense climax with these clean sung vocals that is very moving and stirring, and definitely a nice way to kind of cap off the album. So I don't know, if you're into this kind of music, you'll probably enjoy the album. If you're into Touché Amoré, you'll probably enjoy the album. If not, still check it out. It's good. It's respectable. I'm going to keep listening to it. I don't know if I'll out and out love it, but definitely on first listen, I enjoyed it quite a bit and was impressed with some aspects of it, even though not others. And it's about that. Should we get to the main topic?
Heck yeah.
Let's go.
All right, AJ, your mic. Before we continue, AJ, your mic's kind of messing up. And also, AJ, why the fuck did you not tell me that boy, Will Toledo, met Oscar Isaac?
Yo, I saw that on his Twitter last night, and I was like, fucking Oscar Isaac, and I was like, I don't think I can do this right now. Like, I literally cannot handle looking at a picture of Will Toledo and Oscar Isaac together. Like, I will not put myself through this emotional experience.
Because I was going through my Twitter, like, what you missed, and I'm like, what? Like, what? Like, first fucking Adam Driver, and now Oscar Isaac, and now just Daisy Ridley just needs to go to a fucking Seat Headrest show, and the Trinity is complete. Anyways, main topic time. Oh boy, I forgot my notes downstairs, but I'm going to try to do it by memory. Angel Olsen, My Woman. Of course, this is the third studio album from Angel Olsen, coming after her breakout album, Burn Your Fire for No Witness. Of course, the sound is definitely, compared to her previous records, definitely a bit of a departure. She's dropped most of the folkiness of those first couple albums for full-on, like, indie rock. Well, not even indie rock, full-on just rock music. Really taking, elements from, like, different eras and different genres of rock music and really, culminating them together in her own vision. Of course, you have everything from, like, kind of 50s, like, alt country. You have, elements of, like, some... I don't want to say post-rock, but definitely elements of, like, kind of, I'll talk about it a bit later on. But anyways, the sound is definitely a departure from her previous releases, and it's definitely one of her most varied releases yet, and probably one of my favorite albums of the year thus far, which I'm going to talk about a little bit right now. So, of course... Oh, Zach, were you going to say something?
Like, you said you would call it just straight-ahead indie rock, and I don't know about that. Like, there's some indie rock elements.
See, yeah, I was getting ready to say that, and I'm like, wait a second, no, I'm wrong. Let me not say that.
And then you said it.
Wait, did I say it? No,
I
didn't say it. I backed down. I backed down from it as soon as I was getting ready to, like, full-on say it.
Like, there's some indie rock, there's some indie folk, there's a little bit of synth pop, there's some alt country here and there. Like, some of the vocal takes, for want of a better term, I would call them lo-fi. I don't really know how to classify this album, and I think that's one of its big strengths.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, this is an album that is weird in that it wears its influences on its sleeve. Like, you listen to Shut Up, Kiss Me, and you're like, oh, this is Angel Olsen doing, like, 50s alt country. And you listen to other songs that have similar kind of, make similar connections there, but just... the way it all distills through her very particular vision, like, it just becomes its own thing that is so uniquely her. And I agree, that's absolutely one of the strengths of this record.
I'm going to disagree with everything all of you just said.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest. Maybe it's just because I've been listening to Angel Olsen for like a while, and so albums like Halfway Home and Burn Your Fire for No Witness, I felt the big melting pot of genres and influences, and both of those albums, like, I liked but couldn't say I loved. And then so the singles for this one came out, and I go, okay, she's embracing, like, full-on pop status, essentially. These are written like pop songs, they're themed like pop songs, they're structured like pop songs, and the album to me feels like her most just, like, rigid into one genre. Like, obviously you can't define it into the one genre, as you've all explained already, but, like, if I had to, and I feel like it's the one she's made that you could the most, to just say, like, oh, this is Angel Olsen, like, going pop. And I think, like, the Silver Wig, the music videos were, like, meant to signify that, but it's her most, like, pop forward album, and I think for that it's very, very strong.
It kind of reminds me of, like, St. Vincent's Self-Titled in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's a perfect comparison. Yeah. That's a really good comparison.
Matty, go ahead.
See, I was going to say that this album is definitely much more focused than Burn Your Fire for No Witness. And
that was my big problem with Burn Your Fire. Like, White Fire, I still think is Angel Olsen's, like, masterpiece. I love that song. Like, I've never loved a song in my entire life. But this one has consistency that Burn Your Fire did not have.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I did actually discover Angel Olsen this year through, the intern single coming out and just being absolutely blown away and, getting into Burn Your Fire for No Witness. And now I'm kind of getting into her folkier stuff, like, her debut EP, Strange Cacti. And then maybe AJ, but like there's this like release she has, like a single release. It's like 2 songs. It's like Sweet Dreams and then another song, or it's like a Sweetwalker. It's like Sweet Dreams in California. Is there like
that was just a 7-inch, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, yeah, these songs really have like no explanation behind them. They're both fantastic. But anyways, back to My Woman. So of course, Intern comes out, absolutely fall in love with it. Start getting into Burn Your Fire for No Witness. Think that's great. More singles start coming out for My Woman. Think, oh my god, this is incredible. This album's going to be great. Pre-ordered the bundle for it. And then, the album leaked. And that really just confirmed, like, god damn, this is, like, just so fucking good. Like, and I think we should also talk about, or, like, just get this out of the way. There's a very clear difference between Side A and Side B of the album. Side A is more of, sort of the poppier songs you were talking about, where they're very direct, and they have very, sort of, not conceptual, but sort of traditional structures. And the second half has a bit more. It's a bit slower. The songs are a bit more drawn out. But of course, you do have some of those drawn out stuff. It's like it really does have, it builds up to something, and like there's like big breakdowns. Like Sister and Woman have those big breakdowns where it just like all this like pent up, stuff. It just finally comes down in like great results. And then of course, we'll talk about the outro later. Which, because I want to get to that at some point, because it's just, But anyways, I guess I'm going to let someone else take the reins here. AJ, you talked about the album a little bit. Zach, I'm going to go to ding. Stefan, what are your thoughts on the album?
Oh, it's fantastic. Like, I had a similar thing where I, like, knew about Angel Olsen, like, was aware of her, knew Burn Your Fire, got a lot of hype in 2014, but just never, like, bothered. And then it wasn't until you, Matty, started, like, really hyping, the Intern video that I like went and watched it, and like I wish I could watch the Intern video for the first time like for the rest of my life. Like I was just like, oh wow. And then I got into Burn Your Fire and was like, oh, it's okay. And then beyond that, kind of just stayed away from the album. Like I listened to Shut Up Kiss Me a couple times, but like I don't know, I tried to do this in general, just like not listen to too many singles off an album or like buy into the hype cycles too much. But like everyone was just kind of talking about it like it was going to be this great album, and I listened to it, and it's really, really good. To go back to like the side A, side B thing, I like don't know if I like people have said that a lot, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Like, not that it's wrong, but that may just speak to how like cohesive the album is. That the second half starts, and I'm not just like, oh, we're into the slow song section now, like. It's not just 5 ballads stacked on the back half of the album. I still feel like there's a very nice kind of like flow and diversity to the way these songs are constructed.
It's not a pronounced divide, sort of. It feels like just sort of a natural thing in that like the first half has so much energy, loud songs, these funny lyrics, and then you just hit that, like you've kind of peaked, you've hit the slope, and you're just going down into the psyche of Angel Olsen, and it just gets like slower and more drawn out. A song I see getting a lot of hate, which I think extremely unfairly, is Those Were the Days. I love the smoky, that's the most 50s song in my opinion, and I love the smoky, like just kind of like lounge room, down-tempo vibes of that song. It's like, I think it's really strong.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, actually, that this kind of like, that structure gets into really what this album is about, I think, which is just like, all over this album, Angel Olsen just oscillates between just like completely unfuckwithable self-assurance and then just absolute downcast vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like it really is. Yeah.
I like Woman a lot more than Sister, and those are the two kind of big drawn out pieces. Woman is just like, I love like the climax that song kind of comes to.
Mm-hmm. And like the intro, the sort of the chorus, the intro where it has is like those vocals, like, oh, we're getting into something, and of course it just builds.
It's sort of like the whole album. It's the whole album like in one song, basically.
Mm-hmm. And also, I guess we should mention, I do think that I can definitely stand behind this opinion pretty well. Angel Olsen is definitely one of the top songwriters working today, easily. I don't think.
And I wouldn't mind giving her a smooch either.
Okay, AJ.
Oh, let's go
That's
there.
Sexist,
No.
AJ.
Of course you took it there.
That's it. Like I heard you being like Angel Olsen is definitely one of the, and I was like, where is he going with that?
And also,
I thought you were gonna. I thought you were going to talk about her voice because that's. I don't know. Like she's a great songwriter, but vocally, holy shit, she's one of the best out there right now.
Yeah, I don't think. I think she's definitely in terms of like other, I guess, indie vocalists right now. She's definitely one of the best at just emoting. Of like when she is in pain, you fucking feel it.
So like, especially on Those Were the Days, like I already mentioned, I get Sam Herring vibes, and I can't really explain it, but like I'm reminded of Sam Herring of Future Islands when I listen to this album a lot.
Which I think maybe the comparison kind of comes from that they both really put themselves out
there. They're very emotive.
Yeah,
they're emotive performers.
They don't really care if they sound like great. They don't really care, because like I think that was a big thing with like Burn Your Fire for No Witness, kind of like reading into the context of the album. If you guys don't know, John Collington produced Burn Your Fire for No Witness, and Angel purposely did not want to sound good. She wanted to buy like really shitty mics, so like she didn't sound perfect, and kind of made sure the production of the album was. It wasn't as lo-fi obviously as like her previous releases, but it definitely wasn't like super hi-fi either. It was definitely very. I think this album and the last album they're very vintage. It's definitely very obvious that like Angel Olsen is really, really, really into like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Like she wears those influences on her sleeve like very heavily, as we've been kind of talking about in this discussion.
Yeah, she definitely seems like one of those artists that has not listened to any album that came out this year.
Unlike our boy Will Toledo, who is like the biggest recency bias I think I've seen in like a major indie artist in recent years. Which, anyways, but yeah, this is fucking just the way like I'm just gonna get to it now. I was gonna save it, but like I gotta talk about it now. It's on my mind. Pops. Now AJ. Before I'm gonna.
Do you want to? Yeah. Who should go first here?
I'm gonna tell you to shut up. Well, actually, AJ, I'll let you go first. I'm gonna let you go first.
I just think Pops is kind of a boring closer. I get the lyrics are cool. I just don't think the song goes anywhere, and it doesn't really do anything for me. It's just kind of one note, and I wish the album closed stronger.
See, I heavily disagree with you because here's the thing. When I was talking about that, like how her being really emotive, that song like it does me in. Like I know you're gonna be shit. You're gonna be shit for two reasons. One, because I think it's my favorite track on the album, and two, because I'm about to make this comparison. But shut up. I'm basing this on the music I've listened to in my life, and I draw back to it. Nothing does me in like a really depressing piano ballad to end off an album. And an album that did that fantastically was Dean Blunt's The Redeemer, where it has Brutal, this really just fucking depressing piano ballad ending with these really sort of lyrics that don't really signify an ending, and I think Pops does that too. There's no, like, it's not a happy ending, it's like, hey, life goes on, I'm going to be feeling pain, and I can't really, it's no clear ending, and I think this album, but back to Pops. Her voice just, it fucking kills me. Like I think the reason why, like I think today I was like, okay, not only is this the outro of the year, it's definitely the best song Angel Olsen has put out, because emotionally, AJ, okay, just emotionally the lyrics are they're just so like depressing, and there's only two albums that have made me cry this year, like while listening to, actually no, three albums that have made me cry this year. One was Black Star, 2 was The Color in Anything, and 3 was this album right here, and especially Pops, because today while I was driving in my car, having to go do like my side job, watering flowers, Pops came on, and I just started crying in my car because I've not been feeling well the past few days, and this song was just like, I needed a moment like this, like I just need to fucking like let it out, and Angel Olsen kind of did that for me, and so because of that I kind of have to be like, okay, this song, it has to be one of my top songs of the year, if not my top song of the year, because of just like how like emotionally it does me in. So Stefan, Zach, what do you think of Pops as an outro to the album, as AJ and I have kind of very differing opinions?
It's all right. Like, I'm a fan of like these downcast album closers in general. Like, I'm a sucker for an album that ends with like these slow acoustic ballads. I don't know, I just like those. As long as we're sharing hot takes, I'm just going to say that I'm not as high as on Intern as you guys are. I think the other singles blow it out of the water.
I see that. I see that.
Yeah, Intern like is an interesting choice for a single, or as especially a first single, because like it really is just literally like thematically setting up the album. Like, gotta wake up every day and be someone. That is what the album's about, pretty much. And it doesn't really do much beyond that musically, but like, I don't know, the synths and your voice. And actually, no, I want to talk about the synthesizers because I have not seen any review talk about this. Like, for an album that is ostensibly like a straight up rock album, the electronics on this thing are immaculately produced. They sound so fucking good. I think Angel Olsen actually really is underrated as like an arranger because just her songs are so musically complex in terms of the instrumentation. Like, she has 3 guitarists with her on stage when she performs live, and like there's so much going on there. And I think people didn't really talk about that enough with this album. But anyway, Zach, you had more points to make, or?
On Pops, no, not really. If I get a chance to talk later, I'll talk, but I don't have anything more to add right now.
Okay, I'm on Matty's side with Pops. It's so fucking good. It's not the song for me off this album, but it's still really like I'm kind of a sucker for like a depressing ass closer too, and this is definitely one of the better ones I've heard all year. I like the weird production on the piano. Going back to that a little bit, it has a very interesting like detuned, distressed sound, which is maybe the best quality I can describe for that song. It's upset. That song just as an entity is very upsetting. And like, you know, going back to Nick Cave with those vocal performances, this too, like the rawness in her voice, like, I don't know, it feels like she just broke up with someone and then walked into the next room and recorded this. Like, it's so just heartbroken and downcast and depressed. And boy, it really gets to me, but not as much as Sister. That fucking song, I have had so many crying in the rain moments too in the past 2 weeks. I just... like I'll let maybe someone else take the reins and talk about Sister a little more in depth because I can't even like articulate my thoughts about that song properly.
The climax of Sister is just like fucking nuts.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just that like repeated phrase, just like and the instrumentation is just building and like the whole song is a build.
Mm-hmm.
I mean like the point. A lot of songs and like build to a point and. Sister's point is just like this big hammering, just fucking like dark message. And it's kind of, I mean, like, yeah, I get what Matty was saying earlier about this just being like a very emotionally charged album. And Angel Olsen just sells every single thing she says on every single song in this album. I mean, like, she is truly a talent in that department.
Yeah, she really is like one of the most, I think the word is expressive vocalists out there. Like, her expressive range as a performer, she is able to go from that like deep brassy just strong vibrato into these like very pitchy and soft and vulnerable tones and just wildly fluctuate between the two. Like, I think Shut Up Kiss is a great example of how she does that. If you listen to like, it's so controlled the way she lets her voice kind of like crack and go out of control on that song, but it all just serves this, I guess, you know, performance that is in and of itself very vulnerable, even though she's adopting kind of a character throughout it. I think it's a really impressive bit of vocal work from her, and it pops up all throughout this album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of Shut Up Kiss Me, I do love the little like the segment where it's like it's not a bridge, but it's definitely like before like the last chorus where it's like the vocal performance where she's like singing like I'm still young. It's like there's so much desperation there, and I think that's what Shut Up Kiss Me just does so well. Again, like I said, she's one of the best emotive vocalists, as like you very clear, like you don't even have to listen. Like if you did not speak English, you would know exactly what she's feeling. Like okay, she's obviously very desperate right now. Like I get that from her voice, and of course, Intern, you guys are talking about like the synthesizers. That's something that like I honestly like. I do hopefully on the next album I actually would like to see more synth stuff because I think a lot of indie bands like right now, of course. Like we kind of saw it with Tame Impala, we saw it, you know, like recently with Local Natives, where they add synthesizers to their sound. You know, that's like okay, you know, we need to change up things. Like add a synth, but a lot of bands they do it really boringly, or they just maybe go too overboard and you know kind of forget the core of what made that band originally great. Well, Angel Olsen obviously she does it much more subtly. You know, it's not like it's like ooh, I got synthesizers, I bought like 16 of these on Craigslist, and I'm about to play with them. It's very minimalistic. As it's really just a way like, hey, I'm gonna let my voice shine here. Like I want you guys to like, I want you to fucking listen to me. That's what Intern's like with sort of the sparse, you know, synth instrumentation on there. And then, of course, you're also talking about the instrumentation and how Angel Olsen, like, she was talking about, like, I think there's the Pitchfork interview or a Consequence of Sound interview where she was talking about, like, stepping up as, like, a band leader, like, really, like, you know, I think, yeah, you said she had 3 guitarists now?
Yeah, basically, like, her, 2 guitarists and a bass, which is, that's a fucking lot.
God damn. But yeah, I want to talk about "Never Be Mine" because that's one of my favorite songs on the album.
That might be my favorite song.
Those goddamn
those
Spanish guitars.
Song that opened up the record for me.
Those Spanish guitars are so good. Like whenever it gets into the chorus where it's like "You'll never be mine," it's like it's so like it sounds so good.
Man, I love. There's a mode on this album that she goes into vocally that like I can only describe as like this is really demeaning, but she sounds so like pouty. It just sounds like she's pouting with her voice, and it's fucking great. And she uses it in a very complex way, which again, that's a terrible adjective to use, but is the best way I can describe it. Oh. And yeah, again, it just helps into play into like what a fucking dynamic and expressive performer she is on this record.
Mm-hmm. Also, we just lost AJ. Rip that boy. He had to go. Rip. But anyways, back to the album.
Rip.
So yeah, the first again, like I said, the first half, you know, these very punchy songs, like I want to mention not Gonna Kill You, like god damn, does she sound like so badass on that song? Like the 5th and 4th verse. I think it's mostly the 5th verse. She's like, it's not gonna kill you, it's not gonna break you. It's like like and then like of course when it gets into like the baby, it's like oh my god, like. Holy shit.
If anybody's going to be doing any killing on that song, it's Angel Olsen.
Mm-hmm. For fucking sure, man.
Yeah, she is very formidable at a lot of places on this album, like just intimidating in a very good way.
So we talked about, I think, honestly, I don't really have that many bad things to say about this album because it's like top 3 of the year for me. There's not that many complaints. But I will say yes, of course, like most people, I think the second half, I do want to talk about this because I think Will was saying that he wasn't as big on the album as we are, and mostly for that slower second half. And I kind of have to be like, at least in the case of like Woman and Sister, it's like, Will, aren't you like a super fan of Swans and how they kind of have these songs that kind of maybe start off a little slow, but then they build and build and build to like this like huge climax, and that's what like Woman and Sister do. They just build and build and build, and they have the big like satisfactory climax, and then of course just the slow come down from that climax, you know. But anyways, I did want to mention I guess if there's any negatives I do have on this album, I think Those Were the Days is a very fantastic track. I love her like kind of like whispery vocals on there. They're very kind of just very frolickly, and like I just really dig it. But I do like this song. I like every song on this album. I think they're all great. However, if there is one complaint I do have, I guess if I had to pick like a least favorite song, it's probably Heart Shaped Face for me.
You just read my mind.
Okay, good. I can provide counterpoint here. I really fucking love that song. I think
it's not bad. Obviously, I still think it's great. However, it's like both Those Were the Days and Heart Shaped Face are very like meandering songs. You know, they don't really have like the big build up and breakdown that like Woman and Sister do. However, I think Those Were the Days kind of does the meandering a little bit better because the vocal performance. Well, in this song, it kind of feels like there's maybe going to be some kind of like breakdown, but it doesn't really happen, you know. But of course, like I said, the lyrics are fantastic. You know, like I'm reading them right now, and it's just like, god damn, just fucking you know. Like
yeah, Those Were the Days, I think, benefits from context because it's kind of just an interlude between Sister and Woman, and like very appropriately so, because those are big commitments as songs, both emotionally and just lengthwise. Heart Shaped Face, I can see it doesn't have that. It goes from Not Gonna Kill You, which is, you know, just rips the whole damn time, and then it does drop a little. But if you listen to Heart Shaped, like that's a song I've come back to, like just to listen to just that song on the album. Just because, I don't know, maybe it's personal, but something about that song really resonates with me. And yeah, I definitely see how you could complain about its sequencing in the album. It doesn't faze me that much, also because I love the song so much, and I think the song itself is really great. You know, I wouldn't rank it top 3, but definitely in the top half for songs on this album, in my opinion.
As long as we're talking about Those Were the Days, it's time for random comparison number 1 that I made. Like, for some reason, Those Were the Days reminded me a lot of early era My Morning Jacket, especially It Still Moves. Especially this one song they had on It Still Moves that I don't remember, but I will link on my Twitter just to see if I'm not insane. The guitar sounds reminded me a lot of it. And even though my favorite songs are on the front half of the record, I think the back half of the record is a bit stronger for me.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of agree with that. Just on the strength of like Sister Woman and Pops alone, like you really kind of can't beat those.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, I can't decide because I think the first half and second half they're both so great for different reasons. I think it really has like it's essentially like point counterpoint. You know, they balance each other out. It's yin and yang. You know, it's like, and it's also interesting because you know other artists they would structure their album where they would have they would mix these songs together. You know, it's like okay, so we have a bit more punchier song and then a bit slower and then punchy again, then a bit slower. And it's just like Angel Olsen just straight up like I'm just going to separate these. Like, hey, here's the first half, here's the second half. They're both very different in different ways. They're both very great, but in different ways. You know,
I think
and I really
still kind of like. I think there's still kind of like a fluctuation in the album though. Like I don't know, Never Be Mine and Give It Up are certainly more like toned down, vulnerable songs compared to like Shut Up, Kiss Me and Not Gonna Kill You. So again, that's why like the A and B side comparison falls apart a little bit for me, just because I still feel like there's a clear through line to this album and some very clear like ebbs and flows that are not just limited to those two halves.
Mm-hmm. I see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly I don't know how much more to say. It's just fucking amazing. Go listen to it. Like
yeah, it's really hard to like discuss on a podcast like this because it's like really great album. Moving on.
Yeah.
So can I make that other weird comparison now?
Yeah, go on ahead, man.
I don't know why, but this reminded me a lot of Natalie Prass's album from last year.
I actually really hear that just in like, I guess if you're talking about weird, distinctive voices in music right now. Yeah, I totally heard that.
Yeah, I see that.
Oh, actually, you know what? No, I'm wrong. I totally mixed up. I keep getting Natalie Prass and Jessica Pratt mixed up. And I was thinking of the Jessica Pratt album, which I definitely hear a lot of on this. I don't think I listened to the Natalie Prass album.
Well, you should have.
I guess so.
Wait, was Natalie Prass? That's Bird of Prey on it, right? I just want to make sure I'm correct.
Yes.
Okay, then then I agree.
Yeah, the Jessica Pratt thing was like a weird little like bedroom pop record that came out at the beginning of the year that not a lot of people really listened to, but I didn't mind it. Came back to it at the end of the year. It was pretty good.
Let's see. It was on Drag City, right?
Yeah, I think
that's
so.
Why because it's not on streaming. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Because Drag City is very anti-streaming, which I get why, but at the same time though, it's like there's a lot of artists on Drag City that I want to check out. Like I want to check out Ty Segall. I want to check out more Joanna Newsom. I want to check out more again Jessica Pratt, as you were mentioning. There's so many, or Silver Jews. It's like there's so many artists on Drag City that I want to listen to because I hear a lot of good things. However, they're not on Spotify or Apple Music, and I can't listen to them. It's like I have to.
Are they not on Apple Music? I could have sworn I listened to Yeast on Apple Music like right when I got it. Maybe not.
I can check, but I don't believe it's on there.
Okay, maybe I just bought it then.
Just let me listen to Bill Callahan. That's all I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not on there. So yeah, Drag City. Like I get why they're anti-streaming. Like I totally get it, but it's like they gotta, There's a lot of people that they want to check out their albums, but they can't because it's like they want convenience. So anyways, we're getting off topic. Anyways, yeah. Angel Olsen, my woman. Closing thoughts or ratings. As I said, seriously, just go listen to this. It's one of the best records of the year so far. Fantastic, Angel Olsen, fantastic lyricist. Like one of the best, if not the best, emotive like vocalist like out right now, just in any genre. And of course, the instrumentation is absolutely fantastic. Where really Angel Olsen steps her game up as a songwriter and really just has much more instrumentation. There's much more unique songwriting here. There's some song structures here that are very, very complex. Definitely in the second half, where she draws things out a bit more and really just like flexes those muscles. And then, of course, it's fucking devastating. Like some of these songs, like you just get so fucking sad. It's like, God damn, I need this in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I had to give this a rating. You know what? I'm not going to give this a rating because it feels inappropriate. It's just top 3 this year for me. So take that for what you will.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. I'll say, like, I can rate it because this is probably... I've gotten I feel like I've just gotten too repetitive on the podcast saying like this is probably in my top 10 to the point where I have like 20 albums in my top 10 right now. So I'm not gonna do that to this album. But I will say, yeah, Matty summed it up perfectly. It's a really great album. I enjoyed it a ton. I'm gonna keep listening to it a lot. I'll give it like I don't know, like 4.5 out of 5. Me staring introspectively into the mirror while listening to Sister. That's this album for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to do a little compare contrast here real quick. And it's in the favor of My Woman. Like, one of my favorite albums this year, Teens in Denial, it's over an hour long, and it's astonishing, but its length and its subject matter don't really open it up to repeat listens. Like, I listened to it when it came out a few times, and only just came back to it last month. Still really good, but not something I come back to often. My Woman is shorter, about as good, and honestly, it's more enjoyable a listen, so it invites multiple listens in one sitting, which really works in its favor.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to give it a verdict, it's just outside my top 5. Like, it's number 6 for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it could break up there before December. It could get in there. So I agree. Tremendous album. Tremendous. Don't miss it.
Mm-hmm. And as I already said at the beginning of the podcast, we're doing a contest on Cymbal. Also, by the way, like, good word, Zach. And I'm sorry for that kind of abruptly. As I said at the beginning of the podcast, we're doing a contest. We'll be giving away a CD of Angel Olsen's My Woman, of course. I got the pre-order bundle. I already have a CD from my college station. So we'll be giving away a CD copy and along with a download code for the album. Of course. Actually, no. So we're doing this in tiers. So first place, we'll get the Angel Olsen CD. Second place, we'll get a download code of My Woman, and then another album of their choosing from a bundle of download codes that I currently have that I already mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. And then, of course, we'll have a third place, which will have 2 random download codes of their choosing of the albums that I have here, because I bought a lot of vinyl back at Pitchfork, and I have a lot of download codes that I just want to get rid of because I have 2 streaming services right now, so I don't need them. So, yeah. Please enter the contest on Cymbal. Put in the hashtag that I said at the beginning of the podcast because I have not pre-recorded the pre-recorded segment just yet, so we will figure it out when we get there. So yeah. Anyways, hopefully we can get back to a more consistent schedule. Won't promise weekly. Most likely we might be like permanently switching to bi-weekly depending. I'm not sure yet, but we will see. So yeah, right now expect bi-weekly and be lucky if we go to weekly once again. So yeah, make sure to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/IndieheadsPodcast. Follow us on Twitter @IndieheadsPod. Like us or follow us on Cymbal and make sure to like our stuff at IndieheadsPodcast. And make sure to follow me on MySpace at the only good boy on the internet 69. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this podcast, and we will see you next time. Bye guys.
Bye.
So long.